A very interesting story, sad story, tragic story has come to light right before the NFL draft, and it affects a potential first, not only potential first round pick, but a potential top 10 draft pick, and that is Rueben Bain, defensive lineman, top prospect for the Miami Hurricanes. NFL teams investigating fatal crash involving Ruben Bain. And what is really wild about this, if we take a look, um, first, well, let me get to this real quick. First, one of the top draft picks, prospects in the 2026 NFL draft class. Eagles are a team that would be potentially look to him, although they don't draft high enough. But you can see Howie Roseman, with all the draft picks he has available, packaging something to move up if he thought that was an option. So it is definitely a player that would be of interest to the Philadelphia Eagles. But one of the things from a football perspective is people wondered about his arm length, or his short arms going to be a problem in the NFL in terms of his pass rushing ability. But so much worse is going on that has come out that could really impact where he is drafted. How far will Ruben Bain fall? Which team is going to want to take a chance at him? We've got the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, at number 9. They've been talking about potentially drafting Ruben Bain. The Dallas Cowboys would love to have him at number 12. But apparently, and this is what's wild about this is all the way back in 2024, reportedly involved in a car accident. As you see here, what it says is that proved to be fatal for one of the victims involved. He was reportedly cited for careless driving in Miami in 2024, a passenger in the crash. So this is a young lady that was in his car, a 22-year-old student. She was placed in a coma and reportedly died 3 years later. And apparently now I've heard conflicting reports, just to be clear. I've heard others say, wow, this has somehow, for some reason, been buried in the media so that we don't know about it, that NFL teams have known about it and they have been investigating it all along. Whereas you can see here, Ollie Connolly is now reporting that NFL teams have begun to be made aware of this. So there's a little bit of a conflicting information there. It says Bain, then a sophomore at the University of Miami, was driving on Interstate 95 in Miami at 4 a.m. on 17 March 2024 when his vehicle struck another car before careering into concrete barriers. Careening? I'd say careening, I guess. Oh, well, anyway, on both sides of the highway, according to police crash records reviewed by the Reed Optional, one of 4 passengers in Bain's car. That's not a distraction at all, as I'm sure any of you who have been younger drivers or are now know what that can be like with a bunch of young people in a car, young adults. Destiny Betts, a 22-year-old college student from Georgia who was visiting Miami for spring break, suffered incapacitating injuries and was rushed to the Ryder Trauma Center from the scene. She never regained consciousness. Betts died on 13 June 2024 after spending almost 3 months in a coma. Really, really sad story, obviously. Of course, it's not clear how this will impact his draft status, if it will impact his draft status. This hits home for the Eagles. Now, it's not the same thing in that the incident Jalen Carter was involved in, Jalen Carter was not in an accident. He was in another vehicle. He is not, I'm not saying good decisions were made in the overall scheme of things, but he was not responsible for what someone else driving another car was doing. He was not there. Okay. Completely different story. Whereas this is um, Bain's passenger in his car. Okay. It feels like it could be like the Tunsil incident all over again. A league source told the Read Optional. It doesn't feel like he's been transparent with us. So, see, there again, you get that conflicting. Well, NFL teams didn't know about this. It's so hard for me to believe that this happened back in March of 2024 with a high profile player for the Miami Hurricanes like Ruben Bain, and a young lady dies and no one knew about it. I mean, was this a cover up to protect the Miami Hurricanes so that Ruben Bain would not, I don't know, get suspended for the 2025 campaign? Is that what we're talking about? We are concerned about multiple incidents, another team executive said. We are waiting for the other shoe. Well, there you go. Tunsil, a former Ole Miss standout, dropped to number 13 in the 2016 NFL draft after troubling footage of him leaked online. So, yeah, this is, man, wild, sad. I mean, sad story, first of all, but from the NFL perspective, in terms of why are we just hearing about this now? Right? Why are we just hearing about this now? Why didn't we hear about this? I mean, we're talking about. All right, I almost forgot. Let me get this to show you what I mean. This is because this is what I was thinking of, which makes me wonder. We just saw that part where I said that this is just sort of coming to light for NFL teams. But if we go over to, which is wild that this happened back in March of 2024, again, 2 years ago, and we're just hearing about this now over on Pro Football Talk, where they added a little bit to this. Again, we've got Ali Connolly of the Read Optional saying Bain was driving on I-95 in Miami when Bain careened into another vehicle, which is unfortunately what caused the injuries for Destiny Betts, who passed away 3 months after being in a coma after the accident. The police report per Connolly found that Bain was careless or negligent in his operation of the vehicle. He was cited for careless driving, and the charges was later dropped. Big-time college football program in a major city. I'm not saying things were smoothed over. I'm not saying there wasn't some fixing going on, but would it surprise anybody if there was some fixing going on? Now, it says here, all teams reportedly are aware of the incident. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated notes that teams have known about it for a long, long time, and that a civil lawsuit arising from the crash was already settled. So 2 years ago, we had the accident. Actually had the charges dropped, had a civil lawsuit that's already been settled, and we're just hearing about it now. This is really, really strange. Now, again, Connolly talks about the comparison I already made, and to get into that with draft picks and off-field incidents, while some teams may be concerned about the PR impact of drafting players with past off-field incidents, the bigger question is whether there's a reason to believe the players will be susceptible to off-field incidents once he's in the NFL. It's a decision any team in position to select Bain will have to consider, especially when you're talking about a draft pick so high up in the draft, right? That's a lot of draft capital. For some players, falling in the draft helps provide the wake-up call that makes future issues less likely to occur. And I'll finish up with this, talking about it, because I know this is near and dear to the Eagles. The better comparison for Bain is the Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter. He was involved in a fatal crash months before the draft. He slipped to number 9 in the 2023 draft. He finished second in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting, and he qualified for the Pro Bowl in 24 and 25. We all know what an absolute beast Jalen Carter is in the middle, especially teamed with Jordan Davis. As far as we know at this point, now, things could be smoothed over if it's not so big. Jalen Carter has not been a problem off of the field. He has not had incidents off of the field. He's had a few on the field, but now he did fall in the draft. People expected him to go a little higher. That obviously benefited the Eagles, who took a risk in taking Jalen Carter and betting on the fact that this was not going to be something that was who Jalen Carter was. Again, though, involved in the fatal crash, correct me if I'm wrong, but he wasn't in the actual accident, right? Because the way he says involved, I don't think he was. I believe there was maybe a little street racing going on, and it was another car that got in an accident. Jalen Carter was not actually there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Rueben Bain will fall in the draft? What do you think about the fact that this is just coming to light now? And if the opportunity arises, do you think the Eagles should either get him? I don't think he'll fall that far, or trade up to get him. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for checking this video out, y'all. Appreciate it. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have an amazing day. I'll talk to y'all later.